Okay, I just got back from the iron, and I think it was probably a good call that I went ahead and pressed it, because now everything is really open all the way. And now what we're going to do is we are going to change our presser feet and go ahead and put it on. Let's see, we want to place this down. Go ahead and slip it onto the left side of that bar onto your presser arm. Come on, there we go. Oh, there. Okay, got my presser foot on. And again, this is presser foot E. Now what we're going to do is we want to go ahead and open this zipper up, or you can close it and then place it and open it. It's whatever you want to do. But we want to center the zipper again right over the center of that side seam. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a couple pins in place to hold that zipper tape to that seam allowance. And I almost had a big mess up because I was, as you guys can probably see, I was trying to pin it with everything open, and then I wouldn't be able to only stitch that to my seam allowance. So make sure that you fold your fabric back and line up that bottom notch with your zipper tape, and you're probably going to want to start at the bottom and then work your way up. And so it helps also if you, for just lining things up, if you keep that tab in the upright position, just creates a little less bulk. So I'm going to start at the bottom, lining up my stop with right about at that notch area. And then I'm pinning things just to the right seam allowance. So one side of that seam allowance. Then I'm double checking again, making sure that my zipper teeth are running right along that center area. That center seam, right along the center of that seam that we just made to close the side seams of the skirt. And again, we're still following that same step that what we were doing with the centered zipper, but as soon as we baste this into place, then we'll see a little bit of difference going on. So bear with me, if you will. All right, just a couple more. Couple more pins to put in here. All right, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and I'm going to see if I can unzip this, unzip the zipper, and some of my pins are getting in the way a little bit, so I'm just going to go slow, and when I approach them, kind of shimmy them out of the way. If I can, I might have to pull them out and reposition them. This looks like that's the case on this one. Just kick it back a little bit. Alright, and I got that open. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to start at the top here. It looks like I need another pin to put in place right along the top. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm just going to work my way down. I'm basting this into place, and then we'll flip it over. So go ahead and place your zipper foot just so that that shelf sits right on the shelf, like butts up right to that to the coils, and then go ahead and lower your needle in, and we're not going to worry about doing any back stitching again, and you're just going to do a baste right along this the coils. Really, it's fairly close, I would say. At least on mine it's pretty close. Hopefully it won't be too close for our next step. Should be fine though. Alright, so I'm just working my way down. And my teeth, the zipper teeth that I've opened up, they're pretty much running right along that center line, and then as I'm getting closer to the bottom here, I went ahead and zipped that shut. And then I can just kind of finish this out, this basting stitch line out, connecting my zipper tape to my right hand side of my right seam allowance. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and finish that up here by trimming up those threads. Alright, let me grab my threads at the top, and I tell you, these threads are really what can get in the way when you're putting in zippers, because they want to get wrapped around those teeth. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're actually going to flip this open. We're going to flip it, and we're going to work on the right side of the seam allowance now. So let me see. I think we're going to want to start with our zipper in the upright position. We want to position the zipper foot to the left of the needle. And so right now, if I look at my needle, my zipper foot is on the right hand side of the needle. So we need to change positions of our zipper foot so that the majority of the zipper foot is on the left hand side of the needle. So if you're just kind of looking at this tongue piece, you want the zipper foot to be on the left side of that needle. So we want to turn the zipper face side up, forming a fold in the seam allowance. So as you can see, there's a fold that's occurring when we flip it forward, and it's kind of folding back on itself. Alright, we want to bring the fold close to but not over the zipper ladder. So as this fold is being made by placing it back, we want to try to line it up so that this folded area runs just right along that zipper ladder, the zipper teeth coils that form that ladder. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of manipulating my fabric so I can get that fold line to curl over towards me. And again, I'm only all the rest of my fabrics on this side. I'm only concerned with this stitching that I'm going to be doing to the seam allowance here. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to stitch along the edge of the fold through all the thicknesses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently align, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start below this, actually let me start at the bottom. Yeah, the bottom will probably look a little bit better. Let's see here. A little too far over. What I'm going to do is I want to make sure that this fold is really butted up against my zipper coils here. I know that like you might just have to manipulate this as you sew and just go really slowly, because I don't know if these pins are really going to hold things in place as I would like. So what you're going to want to do is I'm going to change the position of my zipper foot, and I think that maybe the zipper foot in your textbook is a little bit different, but we want to start at the bottom, and then really we're trying to stitch this fairly close to the zipper coil. So let me see if I'll take my zipper foot off so you can kind of see how we need to line things up. Okay, so as you can see, like I have this folded edge pinned fairly close to that zipper coil. Now there's this shelf underneath of your zipper foot, and what we want to do is we want to rest that shelf right against those zipper coils, and then your needle is going to go down through this hole really close to those coils, holding that fold down in place. Okay, so hopefully you guys were able to see that a little bit on the video. Let me make sure that I have everything in place for me to move forward. Yep, okay, got the zipper foot in the right spot. And then as I go, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start a little bit below the stop, the zipper stop, and hopefully I can get over that hump, just so that the fold is being held back into place. So I'm going to go ahead and start at the bottom. I'm not going to do any back stitching. Yeah, I didn't have any problem clearing that stop, so you guys should be okay. And then what I'm going to do is, as I'm stitching, I want to make sure that the fold is really butted up right against those coils. And I'm almost stitching right in that seam line. It's very, very close. And like as you approach that hip area, you're going to have to curve it a little bit, like meaning just like your entire sample, to have everything follow the curve of that seam. So just be aware that you might have to kind of adjust things a little bit. And as I see like I'm stopping, if I need to, I raise up my presser foot and I flatten out that fabric. Alright, now I'm getting close to the top of that slider again, so I'm going to see if I can unzip it and maybe just continue the rest of this seam, kind of holding everything in place. I think I should be alright. I don't want it to cross those coils, I just want it to be butted up fairly close to them. And then I'm just going to finish out the top of this fabric until I hit that stay stitching line. And then I'm going to do some back stitching and finish that off. My machine does a little bit different type of back stitching, so if you don't see my feed dogs moving a whole lot, that's the case. Oh my gosh! So I forgot to change my stitch length. Oh goodness. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back over this, and I'm just going to decrease my stitch length so that it's 2.5. Hopefully you guys didn't do the same thing, but if you did, that's how it goes. So I'm just going to stitch this again. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video so that I can restitch this and then take out the basting on one that was long, but just so you guys can get a quick look at what it's going to end up like. And this folded edge is just going to be butted up right with where those coils start, and you want to make sure that you have a shorter stitch length. So I'm going to go ahead and redo that off camera and then take out these long basting stitches. So if you did this too, I apologize. And what might help is I think I'm going to go ahead and clip some of these back basting stitches just so that hopefully it'll come out easier with my, my seam ripper.